Hello, I'm Sandra Batson at CBC Edmonton. Our top stories: concerns about possible measles exposure in our city. AHS is warning people after a person with the disease went to several locations while infectious. According to AHS, the first exposure was April 16th at the airport's international arrivals and baggage claim area between 3:20 and 6 p.m. The second was on April 20th in the ER at the Stollery between 5 a.m. and 3 p.m. On April 22nd at the 66th Medical Clinic and Pharmacy 66 between 12:15 and 3:30 p.m. And finally, there was another exposure at the Stollery ER on April 23rd between 4:40 and 9:30 a.m. Anyone who was at those locations at that time and born after 1970 with less than 2 doses of measles vaccine is at risk. Monitor for symptoms like fever or rash, and if that occurs, stay home and call HealthLink at 811. Edmonton police say they're making progress on Project Gaslight. That's their investigation into an extortion scheme targeting home builders in the city. Travis McEwen has more.
This surveillance video shows two people enter a home with what looks like a gas can. Then they step outside and toss something inside, immediately igniting a fire that leads to them fleeing. It's one of 7 videos police have released of potential remaining suspects in the Project Gaslight extortion series, a scheme linked to incidents of threats, drive-by shootings, and arson.
This investigation is heating up. We are making excellent progress, and we anticipate having more video and updates for you in the coming days and weeks.
Close to 10 South Asian home builders in the city have been targeted. Police believe the scheme is being organized by a source in India, and the cases in this city are not linked to similar ones in the Toronto and Vancouver areas.
The fact that they all kind of came at relatively the same time, I think was definitely interesting, and it was a concern to us in the initial parts of this investigation. But as it started to unfold, really the suggestion that it's linked to something bigger seemed to really fade away. So again, I think the way that I would look at it, it was more sort of a belief on our part that it was a tactic that is being employed by this group.
So far, 6 young men have been arrested in connection with the extortion series in the city. Police say no additional crimes in this case have been reported since the end of January. Travis McEwen, CBC News, Edmonton.
Wildfire southeast of Peace River has expanded to 1,500 hectares, but the emergency alert has now been canceled, although people haven't been given the okay to return. More than 200 fires have been reported this year, 65 more than this time last year.
While this elevated number of new wildfire starts in 2024 points to concerning levels of wildfire danger, it also means our response tactics are working. We will be introducing fire bans today.
Officials encourage you to check the latest information on the fire ban's website. Well, property owners here in Edmonton will pay almost 9% more in taxes this year. Council approved a revised operating budget last night. They also passed some new programs, but Mayor Sohi voted against them.
I did not support any additions beyond what administration recommended, because I felt that we need to be as prudent as possible and not add more than what is needed.
The tax increase means property owners will pay about $66 more on every $100,000 of assessed value. And finally, this Oilers fan brings the bling and face paint to the playoffs and to our CBC Edmonton radio studio.
It just started 2.5 years ago for the playoffs. Went to the game, showed up as a normal fan, just dressed up. We lost. So then kind of told the wife, we're going all out tomorrow. You'll definitely hear me jingling along and blinking lights for sure. Right?
Well, actually, how many pins do you have on?
So the overalls are probably about over 300 lapel pins. They're probably about 35 pounds in the overalls themselves, let alone the necklaces. Drum comes out.
Oh, beautiful.
Everything's got lights.
Nice.
I went down to LA last year for Game 6.
Right.
Full decked out, dressed up, and they actually wouldn't let me in the building.
What?
And I was just like, well, what's going on, right? So then like, oh, you're not allowed in with full face paint. And I was just like, Will Ferrell does it. And he's like, oh, you're comparing yourself to a celebrity? And this is like, oh, rules are rules.
Fair.
Yeah, like I'm a local celebrity, I'll call it, right? For sure. But we're actually flying out to LA tomorrow. So be down there for Games 3 and 4.
All right, that's all for now. Thanks for joining us.